The rain tapped softly against the window as Liam sat in the dimly lit living room, his hands resting on his knees. The day had been long, filled with the kind of exhaustion that seeped into your bones. The construction site he managed was behind schedule. The crew was restless, and one of his workers had injured himself that afternoon. All Liam wanted was to come home, take a hot shower, and sit beside Emma, his partner of 7 years, watching whatever movie she'd picked out. But when he pushed open the front door, the house was silent. No humming from the kitchen, no soft music playing in the background, just an eerie stillness that made his stomach tighten. He stepped into the living room and froze. Emma was sitting on the couch, her posture stiff, her hands folded neatly in her lap. Beside her was a small suitcase, the one she used for weekend trips. Liam's heart sank. "Hey," she said, her voice flat, devoid of emotion. Liam blinked, trying to process the scene. "Are you going somewhere?" Emma hesitated, her gaze flickering to the suitcase and then back to him. "Yeah." "Where?" he asked, his voice cracking slightly. "Spain," she replied, her tone matter-of-fact. Liam's chest tightened. "Spain? Since when? What's going on, Emma?" She took a deep breath, her fingers nervously twisting the silver bracelet she always wore. "I'm going with Daniel." The name hit Liam like a punch to the gut. Daniel. Her co-worker. The one she'd been spending late nights at the office with. The one Liam had tried not to think about. "Your boss?" Liam's voice was low, barely controlled. "You're telling me you're going to Spain with your boss?" Emma nodded, her eyes avoiding his. "It just happened, Liam. I didn't plan it. But Daniel, he understands me in a way you don't. He makes me feel alive." Liam's fists clenched at his sides, his nails digging into his palms. "And what about us? What about everything we've built?" Emma's expression softened, but there was no regret in her eyes. "I'll come back, Liam. When I do, we'll figure things out. I just need this." She stood, picking up the suitcase and heading for the door. Liam wanted to stop her, to yell, to demand answers. But something inside him snapped. He let her go. The moment the door closed, Liam felt the weight of the silence press down on him. He looked around the room, at the photos on the walls, the furniture they'd picked out together, the life they'd built. And then, with a clarity that surprised him, he knew what he had to do. Emma stepped off the plane in Barcelona, her heart racing with a mix of excitement and unease. The city was beautiful, the air warm and filled with the scent of salt and citrus. Daniel was by her side, his arm casually draped around her shoulders, but for the first time, his touch felt heavy, suffocating. The first few days were a blur of luxury: 5-star hotels, gourmet meals, and endless glasses of wine. But as the days passed, Emma began to notice things about Daniel she'd never seen before. The way he talked down to waitstaff, the way he dismissed her opinions, the way he seemed more interested in showing off than actually being with her. One night, as they sat in a rooftop restaurant overlooking the city, Emma mentioned Liam. "He used to love cooking," she said, her voice tinged with nostalgia. "He'd make these elaborate meals just to surprise me." Daniel's face darkened. "Why are you talking about him?" "He's in the past, Emma. Or at least he should be." Emma's stomach churned. I miss him sometimes." Daniel leaned back in his chair, his expression cold. "If you're still thinking about him, maybe this was a mistake." Emma's heart sank. She tried to brush it off, but the words lingered in her mind, gnawing at her. That night, lying in bed next to Daniel, she couldn't sleep. She reached for her phone and opened the banking app, only to find her accounts frozen. Panic set in. "Daniel," she said, shaking him awake, "I need to go home." He groaned, rolling away from her. "What are you talking about?" "Liam froze our accounts. I don't have any money." Daniel sat up, his face hard. "And what do you expect me to do about it?" Emma stared at him, her chest tightening. "You brought me here. You said this trip was for us." Daniel laughed, a bitter, mocking sound. "I didn't force you to come, Emma. If you're broke, that's your problem." Emma felt the room spin. She grabbed her suitcase and left the hotel, her hands trembling as she called her best friend, Claire. "I need your help," she said, her voice breaking. "I need to go home." When Emma landed back in the city, she went straight to the house she'd shared with Liam. But as she approached, her heart stopped. A "for sale" sign stood in the front yard. She tried the key, but it didn't work. The locks had been changed. She rang the doorbell, knocked, but no one answered. The house was empty. "Emma," a voice called. She turned to see Mrs. Henderson, their elderly neighbor, standing on the sidewalk. "Where's Liam?" Emma asked, her voice trembling. Mrs. Henderson's expression was sympathetic. "He moved out, dear, sold the house and left. He said he needed a fresh start." Emma felt the ground shift beneath her. "Where did he go?" Mrs. Henderson shook her head. "He didn't say, but he seemed at peace, like he'd finally let go." Emma's legs gave out and she sank to the porch steps. The reality hit her like a tidal wave. Liam hadn't waited. He hadn't fought or begged. He'd simply walked away, leaving her with nothing. As she sat there, staring at the empty house, Emma realized the truth. The life she'd taken for granted was gone, and for the first time, she understood the weight of her choices. Liam sat in a small cafe in a new city, a cup of coffee steaming in front of him. The past few weeks had been a whirlwind, selling the house, packing up his life, and starting over. It hadn't been easy, but for the first time in years, he felt free. He thought about Emma occasionally, but the pain had dulled, replaced by a quiet sense of relief. He'd loved her once, but love wasn't enough to save a relationship built on lies and betrayal. As he sipped his coffee, Liam felt a sense of peace settle over him. He didn't know what the future held, but for the first time in a long time, he was ready to find out.